Let's look at e-commerce. E-commerce has become the norm. Every business now has some level of online presence. Now, how would say businesses can actually further leverage on e-commerce to ensure that they are more productive even in this new year, 2024?
So what I think organizations need to do when it comes to e-commerce is to look at what is available and leverage them. So I see a lot of people trying to reinvent the wheel. I don't need to create my own payment gateway, sincerely. There are a lot of startups that have payment gateways that can help me collect payment. If I say I want to do e-commerce all by myself, I create my own payment gateways, I deploy my own technology to manage everything, that would be a lot of cost to me. But there are some people that have created it. So what I just need to do is to plug in into what is available. If I want to do invoicing, there are organizations, there are startups that can help me handle my invoicing, handle my bookkeeping, handle my payment, handle confirmation, handle a lot of things. So what I will advise business owners, especially small business owners, is to plug into what is available. And I also know that there is a lot of lack of information with regards to a lot of these things. A lot of people don't know that they can actually have tools that would enable them manage everything end to end when it comes to their business operations. So we need to get information. We need to seek out for those tools. And usually those tools are actually, they are not so expensive because the companies that roll them out, they are looking for large numbers. It's just about the law of large numbers. And so each person pays a small amount of money. But by the time they pull everything together, it's a lot of revenue for them. So leverage what is available. Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't try to want to do everything all by yourself. It will be a lot of cost, and it will also, if you're not careful, shift your attention from the major operation, the major thing that your business is meant to do. And you just be focused on technology, automation, transformation, and what have you. It's always very exciting, but you just find out at the end of the year that you have spent a lot of time doing something that you could actually have outsourced, leverage what other people have done, and you will just be better for it. So that's what I will advise businesses to do.
Thank you very much. Now let's look at collaborative entrepreneurship. We see this in other climes, companies coming together, to actually be better and more efficient. But we don't see a lot of that here in Nigeria because everybody probably just wants to be the boss of their own company. But do you think this is the future? This is one of the ways in which businesses can actually be more productive?
Yeah, it is the future, no doubt. I don't have a doubt that it's something that we would embrace. Some people would do it willingly, some people will be forced to embrace it. Why did I say that? I think the major reason why we're not collaborating is this mindset that I want to have everything all by myself. I want to be the MD, CEO, chairman of my own company, and I want to ascribe everything, every success of the business to me, myself, and I. But with the advent of startups, with the advent of with the uptake, the embrace of startups in Africa and in Nigeria particularly, I think we are ready to change the way we do things. Unlike before, where everybody wants to own 100% of their business, with the advent of startup has ensured that people are now willing to give out equity in their business because that's the way startups are configured. There are businesses who develop solutions, solve problems, they embrace technology, they are able to scale up rapidly, and they are also willing to invite investors who would take stakes in the company. And that's some form of collaboration and partnership. I'm saying that I have the solution, but you have the financial wherewithal, bring it. And of course, while setting that up, you see a lot of these guys, they have co-founders, which is also a form of collaboration. I know that I'm good in ideating, you are good with technology, so I'm the CEO, you are the CTO, we have the CMO who is very good with marketing. And so everybody brings in their expertise, and then we also call investors, and everybody is collaborating to ensure the success of that startup. So that is happening in the startup space, I think it's going to translate into something bigger, something larger, where businesses are saying that this is my strength, but I need this organization to be my technical partner. I need this organization to be my knowledge partner. I need this one to be my media partner. I need this one to just provide the framework and the technology that we need. So that would happen. And for the ones that are not quick to adopt it, they would be forced to adopt it because they will find out that embracing collaboration would result in a lot of cost saving, will also result in a lot of competitive edge for them if they embrace it. So I see that happening, and it's just going to be win-win for everybody, every party that is collaborating. So it's going to happen. It's going to become something bigger, right? And it is the future. But while we are collaborating, we also need to define the terms. Maybe that's where people get their fingers burnt. So when you are collaborating, what are the things that we are collaborating on? What are the terms? What's the need for me? What's the need for you? Let's have it defined. Let's sign agreements so that nobody comes back tomorrow and changes what we have agreed on. So when we put all of that in place, collaboration becomes a lot sweeter and it becomes a lot more beneficial to all the parties.
Very well, thank you very much. Now, what would you advise government to do by way of policy, to basically ensure the protection of data? Yes, basically that's it.
So I will advise government to ensure that even at their own, so we have government organizations, we have parastatals who also have access to data. And then we're asking, for instance, we're asking ourselves, every time you want to do something now, you have BVN. I'm talking of Nigerian context now. So almost everybody that is doing banking in Nigeria, you have your BVN. And almost everybody now has national identity number, the NIN. If you are still going to do your travel passport, they will ask for these things. If you want to do some transactions, you feel like they have access to my data. Why are they still asking me? Why am I saying this? When there is proliferation of data, when data is being accepted and collected from multiple sources, there is a higher tendency that data will not be well protected, because it means that a lot more people have access to that data instead of a central database that anyone that requires it is authorized. That's what authorized to access it. So government should lead by example with the way data is managed. There are some things that when you want to do with government, they should not be asking for some details, because your data is assumed to already be captured with your NIN and your BVN and some other tools. So government should lead by example by ensuring that data is collected, mined, protected, managed, and accessed properly. And then we should also create policies that ensures that private organizations, individuals do not use other people's data indiscriminately. We should create layers of authorization for who can access certain data and who cannot access them. That I work in a particular organization does not mean that I should have access to all level of data. There should be classification. There should also be measures to ensure that when there is breach, it is arrested and whoever is responsible is brought to book. So we should not handle data carelessly. I think another thing we need to do is to digitize collection of data. It's a lot easier for me to go into an establishment and pick people's files and access their data. But if that data is digitized, I will need some layers of accesses, right? I will need a password. I will need to be authorized to access that thing. So if government can ensure that data is digitized, they can ensure that data that they have is well managed, that there is authorization at some levels to what data people can access. I think that would ensure that data is well protected, and policies that would ensure that those things are protected are not just they are not just churned out, but the policies should be enforced. I think that's the word. We have a lot of policies that are not enforced. They should be enforced. if
Seye,
if that is taken care of, I think we'll be fine.
into collaborative entrepreneurship, what can government do to ensure that the business environment in Nigeria is conducive for collaborations? And I would just like for you to add that to your final thoughts before we round up the show.
So how can government ensure that we have a collaborative business environment? By providing tools that encourage collaboration. So I know, for instance, there was a time the immediate past government they were creating some, I think they were calling them MSME clusters. I can't remember the name, where you have large number of businesses. They can access some certain amenities in some locations. That would, of course, encourage collaboration. People can come together, and there is a lot of economy of scale because they're coming together in a particular space or in a particular domain. So government should create infrastructures and things that can actually bring organizations together and ensure that there's a collaborative environment for them. So you talk about shared workspace now, which is being driven by the private sector, which of course has enabled a lot of people to benefit from having a workplace. That's some form of collaborative effort, right? So government should create infrastructures, digital, physical, and what have you, that enable people to collaborate. They should also ensure that there is ease of doing business. So I think we moved in the ease of doing business some years ago. I think we are, I'm not very sure now, but I think we were 137 at some point. But what makes us feel like we can actually move down to further down the ladder and create further ease of doing businesses? We should avoid policy somersault, right? When we have a policy today and then next year we have changed it, that becomes injurious to the entrepreneurs. We should also ensure, I saw what NAFDAC is doing recently. I saw that that information some 1 or 2 days ago, saying that NAFDAC is slashing the cost of small businesses registering with them. And so I want to see things like that from regulators, from NAFDAC, from SON, from Seye, and every other organization in charge of regulating businesses. Let them make the environment easier and more conducive for these businesses, and you just will be amazed at how much these businesses can do. I'm very particular about MSMEs because that's my constituencies. MSMEs in Nigeria are about 39.6 million at the moment. They are contributing about 50% to our GDP, and they are responsible for about 80% of the employment in the country. If you enable these guys, I can tell you that their contribution to the GDP will jump amazingly. They will employ a lot more people, and so it will reduce unemployment in the country, and the economy will be a lot better for it. So government should do what it can do, and of course, the business owners also should embrace a lot of capacity building measure that enables them to do businesses a lot better. They should be accustomed with the trend, and they should embrace the trend and not become dinosaurs by trying to do things the way they were done in 1946. So that would be my parting shot.